really the biggest challenge for me is when I decided to make this film, I knew I had to remember my positionality in it the whole time, obviously being a white filmmaker entering into this space. And so, just being able to, sometimes, be able to admit, I was wrong, or I said, or I did something that, maybe I didn't think fully through, but that's like what's important is to be able to, have that reflection and to, to remember why you're there, and your role in that.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Courageously Kind, a show in which we celebrate stories of courage and kindness. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Liz. We're twin sisters.
And best friends.
Our hope is that these conversations encourage you to live more courageously and inspire you to be kinder to yourself and others.
This week we had the absolute honor of chatting with Jenna, a filmmaker from Upstate New York, our hometown in Upstate New York, actually, about their upcoming film, Steward, a documentary short film about a Black-owned family farm in Windsor, New York. Jenna shared a little bit about the film with us, about how they found out about this farm in upstate New York, and about the complexities of being a white filmmaker sharing the story of a Black family. It was a really interesting conversation, and we can't wait for you to listen to it, and we can't wait to see this film. So without further ado, here's Jenna.
My name's Jenna. I'm from upstate New York. Ever since I can remember, I guess my first iPod Touch with a camera on it. Ever since then, I've been running around making corny little videos with my friends. Hopefully now they're just a little less corny. Yeah, and so now I'm in my last semester at school, spring semester senior year, which is really exciting. And I've decided to focus most of my studies on documentary filmmaking and cinematography. It's just what I'm most interested in and what I want to work in. Yeah, and I'm just really excited to get out into the world, I guess. It's been a long couple of years in school with COVID, so I'm really excited to graduate.
Could you tell us a little bit about the project you're working on now, Steward? A little bit about the film, how you got connected with this farm, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so right now I'm working on a short film. It's a documentary. It's called Steward, and it's about a multi-generational Black-owned farm in upstate New York, Windsor, New York. And so the short film is a portrait piece about a man named Glenn, and he's part of the family that owns the farm, and he is the one that kind of takes care of the day-to-day operations, the on-the-ground stuff. And there's some other people helping here and there, but for the most part, it's him and 700 chickens every day. And I just, while home my junior year of school, so last year, I was fully remote and I was home and I just got involved in some community spaces. And while shopping at a bookstore in Binghamton, Ride Out Books, I saw a sign for their eggs and I had never heard of them before. And I like to think I'm really interested in agriculture and food systems. So I liked to think that I was pretty in the know about local food systems. I had never heard of them. And so I started buying their eggs and their maple syrup from the bookstore. And I was doing some research and just realized that the family owned the farm since the 80s and it had been around for so long. And I just assumed that they were newer and that's why I hadn't heard of them. But in reality, they had always been there. And I didn't know. And so I just thought it was so crazy. Like, how could I not know about them? And I was doing some research and I read that 1% of farmers in America or farms are Black owned. And so that kind of answered my question of why I hadn't heard of them, was because there's not as big of a spotlight on them, and there's not a lot of them. So from there, I just started sending emails, trying to talk to the family, to get to know them. And then here we are making a film together. Yeah, and they've been so generous and so kind with letting me into their lives and letting me come follow them around with the camera, which isn't always easy to do.
I bet, like at a farm with all those chickens running around. We saw some clips on your Instagram. It looks like such a cool film. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I knew before I went to the farm for the first time that there was around 700 of them, but I think nothing can prepare you to see that many chickens. I think probably the most I've seen in beforehand was like maybe 10, 15,
Yeah.
which I thought was a lot. 700.
I literally can't even count. We have chickens. We have about like 15, I would say. Yeah. I can't comprehend what 700 chickens would look like.
Yeah, so you know how many eggs they lay, in the
Yeah.
summer at peak season, they do a lot of different eggs, and they're beautiful because they're all different types of chickens, they're all different colors, and it's picture perfect eggs.
So cool. So cool. Have there been any challenges during the creation and production of the film?
There definitely has been. I mean, there's the normal challenges of filmmaking, of scheduling and money and and all that jazz, but I think really the biggest challenge for me is when I decided to make this film, I knew I had to remember my positionality in it the whole time. Obviously being a white filmmaker entering into this space, and so just being able to sometimes be able to admit I was wrong, or I said or I did something that maybe I didn't think fully through, but that's like what's important, is to be able to have that reflection and to to remember why you're there, and your role in that, in my role in a local community sense, but also in just like a national and global sense. And so, I mean, it's definitely a challenge that I welcome and is making me, that much better of a person, which is really exciting. But it's tough. It's tough to unlearn all of those societal things that are so engraved in us. But yeah, that's been hard, and something that, I'm not fully through yet, but I'm getting there. And like I said, the family, the Millans who own the farm, have been so wonderful and so great in this process of figuring out how to make a film together, but also with this dynamic of who we are.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, we can definitely tell that you're making this film in such a kind way, and with such kind intentions. Where are you in the creative process, and when can we expect to watch this film?
Right now, I'm still in production, still filming, kind of editing as I go, which is how a lot of docs work. But I'm hoping, let's see, by like May or June to have I'm hoping this summer to have a polished cut. But we'll see, because it's definitely a long process. Even once you finish filming and finish editing, then there's coloring it and sound mixing, because I really want to take the time with this film. It's easy to want to rush it out and to I'm so excited, and now that it's gotten a little bit of attention, other people are excited, so I can't wait to share it. But I want to make sure I'm really taking the time to make it the best it can be. So yes, I'm hoping for the summer. Fingers crossed. We'll see.
Can't wait. We want to see it. So
bad. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about, you want to share about the film or about filmmaking or the world in general?
Oh, it's so hard.
I know, kind of put you on the spot. That's kind of a loaded question.
No, that's totally okay. But it's like when someone asks you what's your favorite movie, not even because I'm studying film, but it's like you forget, or your favorite song, you forget everything you ever want to say. I don't know. I mean, definitely want to give a shout out to the farm. The farm's name is Triple J Farm. It's in Windsor, New York. Their Instagram is Triple J Farm _New York, and their website is triplejfarmnyc.com. Yeah, and they really have a great vision for their future, you know, as a family and as a farm, but also just for the world. Like they're really committed to uplifting other Black-owned businesses, whether or not it's farming. And you know, it's time to start closing that gap, the wealth gap. And you know, land is key to generational wealth. So they're really committed to helping with that, and they have some big plans for the future on how they can help do that on their own farm, and then again, like just, you know, helping support other people. And it's really amazing. And so I'm hoping to be along for the ride to capture it all. I'm working on this short film now, but also keeping a larger potential feature doc in mind surrounding the farm as a whole, and the growth and the growth that they've experienced over the past years, and how they are trying to keep up with it, you know, because when you're a person of color in a business like this, failure almost means something different. I'm coming to learn. Of course, I can't speak on behalf of anyone, but yeah, I don't know. I ramble. I'm not.
No, it's all good. That's perfect for a podcast.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just sort of love that, like, when we first heard about this story, we were like, okay, a Black-owned family farm, that's cool. But I think the story is so much deeper than people realize. Mm-hmm. And there's so many other themes other than just like agriculture than people would first expect. So.
Yeah, and it's been so interesting because there's so many different avenues I would love to explore while spending time with them, from a film standpoint. But it's like there's just, life is so complex, especially, you know, a lot of the family members that I've been talking to and I've come to know are, Black men. And so, you know, there's so many layers to it, you know. And so again, figuring out what topics or you know, themes I want to explore, and what ones I feel like I should be exploring, you know, again, as a white filmmaker. It's tough. There's so many, like you said, it's so much more than just a farm.
I can't wait for people to realize that.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
Yeah. And I'm very thankful to be able to share with you guys on Courageously Kind.
Oh my gosh, well, we're so grateful to have you here. How can people support you? How can people support the film and the farm and all that good stuff?
Yeah, well, we live in the age of social media, of course. The film has an Instagram, steward.film. Like I said, you can follow the farm. On Instagram, they are JJFarm_New York. Yeah, and I think the key to growth of this society is education. You know, so knowing the fact that 1% of farmers in the country are Black, then, you know, that's kind of the first step, is realizing that, and you know, finding out something to do with that information, because it's not right, you know. Yeah, so I really believe in education. You know, buying from Black-owned businesses, of course, if you're able to, supporting local in general, especially. It's really hard to be a small-scale farmer. I don't. Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. We love it.
Me too.
So exciting.
Thank you so much for sharing this family story and for sharing your work with us today. We're really, really appreciative.
Of course. Thank you. You know, you guys are doing some cool stuff. It's exciting to see.
Thank you so much for listening. If you like this week's conversation and want to hear more, head to our Instagram at Courageously Kind Podcast.
We love you so much, and we'll see you back here real soon.